This Power Rangers comic book review is created for and intended for an adult audience.
No. I hate this story. I mean, I do. Don't get me wrong. Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to another comically long review. Some of you might be wondering why I would even bother trying to get back to the rest of this review when The Psychopath was published last October, so it's ancient history at this point. My reasoning is pretty simple. I told you all I was going to do it. I announced the project and I released the first video. I know a lot of you are looking forward to hearing my thoughts on how this story ends, so even though I'm not looking forward to this, minor final thought spoilers, let's get it out of the way. Let's take a look at part 2 of The Psychopath. Please make sure you're subscribed to the channel to see all of my videos and ring the bell. Get your notifications set up so you'll be notified of whenever I post brand new videos. This is normally where I would talk about financial support for my channel, but I felt like in this case I should maybe do a thing that I've done a couple times before and redirect you to a charity instead. I mentioned in that intro that I said I wasn't going to talk about during the video itself. I'll keep it short. The spreading around the world right now is pretty scary. I felt like charitable donations should be funneled to something helping with that. So I've chosen the Center for Disease Philanthropy, CDP, Response Fund. I'll try to remember to include a link to it down in the description, but if I don't, it is the CDP Response Fund. You can Google it. If you can find a way to donate to that, I would greatly appreciate it in lieu of donating to my channel for this week's videos. Thank you. Picking up where we left off, we see Dude McGreen watching surveillance feeds across the ship. He sees Carone sneaking out of her quarters to explore, something she's done regularly. He says she's almost out of time, having reached the planet where Dark Spectre's weapons facility is. Once she helps unlock it, he won't need her anymore. He then sees that Andros is on board. The action kinda jumps forward randomly as suddenly Carone is at the lab Green is inside. The door won't open. He comes over the intercom telling the psychos there's a Power Ranger on board and not to trust Carone, but instead capture her alive so she can be fixed. Carone and Green find Andros at the same time. Andros calls Carone Astronema, and Green agrees, but Andros shoots him in the hand and he runs away. Blue finds Green and asks if there really is a Ranger on board. He confirms there is, mocking Blue for checking with him first instead of doing something about it. Blue starts to discuss what they should do, but Green starts giving him orders instead and tells him that when this is all over, they'll all be reset to erase Carone's influence. Green sees an open hatch in the ceiling and climbs up. Carone and Andros run down a corridor, Carone telling Andros the hatch was a trick. They duck into the gym with the boxing ring we saw before. She insists she's still herself, and Andros understands that because Astronema would be killing folks left and right. He asks her to slow down and if she's safe. She says it's a long story. No freaking kidding. She then says, "Your turn," which makes no sense because she hasn't actually said anything yet. She asks how he found her and what he's doing there. She went with them, among other reasons, so the Rangers wouldn't have to fight them. Andros, of course, says that he's come to save her. She asks if she looks like she needs saving. He starts suspecting her again, since she had free reign of the ship and is not happy to see him.
I said shut up! As in close your mouth and stop talking.
Then Andros showed up and ruined everything. And she decks him.
No.
Black and Red see the two on surveillance in the boxing ring. Oh, she punched him in the boxing ring. Isn't that just friggin' cute? Can I please stop reading this now? Red asks what they should do, and Black says he's a ranger, we're psychos, we kill him. Red says Astronema would never forgive them for that. She's saved them more than once, and he trusts her. Black says he thinks he agrees, but these emotions are dang confusing. Corone, that's insane. No, it's psycho. They've started talking about when Corone was captured, how she asked Pink to spare Raj's life, and she hesitated. As Andros points out, she did kill her anyway. Corone feels like she's making slow progress, even having them think about names. Andros is a prejudiced jackass, saying they don't deserve names because they nearly killed us. They did kill Kendricks. 1, that was like comic book death. She got over it. 2, let's be fair, Andros. Only Pink did that. She says Green is brilliant, but wrong. He figured that giving them a sense of family would make them loyal to him, but it's giving them contradictions. They hate the Rangers, but they also function as a team of Rangers. They want to conquer, but also to have community. As Corone gives this little speech, Green works on the mind control chair, Red sprays something on something while Black stands watch, and Blue visits Pink in her room. Andros points out that by not just wiping the psychos out, she's risking millions of lives for an experiment. Corone reveals the full extent of her plan. She's been gaining their trust to try and reprogram them herself, giving them complete free will. Andros says that's dangerous, but she asks him to trust her. They actually act like family for once, as he asks how he can help. She needs into the lab and knows that he can help, but then the ship rocks. Help, in inverted commas, has arrived, the Astro Megaship attacking the Psycho ship. In fact, they shoot it down, now crashing into the atmosphere. Green asks where Andros is, but Red lies and says he couldn't find him. I think they were spray painting the ship's cameras? The ship crashes, but they survive. The Rangers start attacking their hull, and Green says they know what time it is. That's right, the Psycho Rangers morph. The process is a little unclear, there's no morpher, the lights just seem to come from their chests. They're still faster than us, smarter than us, and stronger than us. They're also evil, but don't tell Corone. Red sends Pink to find Andros, while the others will go fight the Rangers. The Rangers get the doors open and run inside, but then a button is pressed and there's a big explosion. Black closes the door? The fight begins outside, and TJ finds it weird that Yellow is attacking him. She explains that winning is a higher priority than color matching. The Space Rangers are getting kicked around. TJ and Carlos talk about it. Their one advantage was always that the Psychos fought with rage, no strategy. Now they have strategy, protecting the ship and changing up opponents. Carlos suggests a retreat, but TJ says no, they have to rescue Andros and Corone. They are not giving up. Andros got the door to the lab open, apparently by demorphing. Corone tells him to hurry before the rest of his Rangers get in. He's hit with a pang of guilt and says he won't work against his own team. She didn't mean it like that, but he puts his foot down anyway. He pulls a blaster on the data cards and tells her to move away. Remember how I said that the two of them were finally acting like family? Well, throw that right out the airlock. Turns out Andros was tricking his sister. He got them into the lab so he could destroy the data cards, ensuring the Psychos would never revive. Corone attacks Andros with her Astronema power. She begs him to just pass out, and even while getting zapped, he insists he still believes in her. He finally loses consciousness, and apparently using those powers is what changes her hair color, as some of it is now purple. Corone has a breakdown over what she had to do. Back outside, Carlos faces off with Psycho Red and Black. Red takes the lead, knocking Carlos down. Red raises his sword, but Black stops him. He changes tactics and tells Carlos he's lucky. He's only knocking him out. They need a new plan. Green and Pink enter the lab, seeing Corone and Andros unconscious. Green asks if she's come around, and she smacks him with a thing. Pink grabs Corone and asks what she was doing. Then she asks Green why he was rebuilding the chair. She finally puts it together. Neither of them really care about who the psychos are right now. Then Corone and Green zap at each other, and Pink entirely disappears. They have a beam war, which Green wins. He screams and catches her, thinking he'd killed her, but she did survive. He really does want to reprogram her. Andros, on the other hand, the Psycho Rangers retreat, dumping Carlos at the entrance of a cave and jumping above it, I guess? The Space Rangers think this has to be a trap. TJ runs in to get Carlos, I think, while Cassie and Ashley follow the others up on top. The girls get up there, and the psychos blast the ground beneath them, sending them falling into the cavern. Both paths were the trap. Red seals the cavern off with a force field. They are leaving. The Space Rangers will wake up, find Dark Spectre's weapons, and destroy them. All that matters to them is that their family is preserved, even if they seem kind of shaky on the idea of not killing the Rangers. Green is ready to finish Andros off. Corone begs him not to, but then Pink shoots him in the back.
You'd shoot a man in the back.
Well, it's the safest way, isn't it?
The two of them clash, but Pink easily gets the upper hand, slamming Green's head into the floor. Corone tells her it's over, and Pink says her name is Nocrea. The Space Rangers use the Quadro Blaster to try and escape, but the beam just bounces around the cave. We see Andros' attitude about the Psychos wasn't unique, as even sweet little Ashley is ready to rip them apart. Cassie, too. The Psychos have found Corone and demorphed. She explains what happened, and Red is confused because both Green and Pink are family, and it's always a little confusing when family fights each other. Corone says that will be easier if they let her reprogram them. But before doing that, she's going to need to kill them. Their data cards are complete, but the changes won't take effect until the system is restarted, if you follow me. She wants to give them a more complex and advanced understanding of morality. Or, as they say, she wants to kill them and make them different people. She insists they'll be the same, more or less, but they feel betrayed, and Black looks amazingly like Zane in this. She has a line that kind of shows the flaw in her thinking, saying that once she does this, they will be the people she knows they should be. Of course, the Space Rangers are still feeling kill crazy, so they're going to need to hurry this up. Blue cannot believe this. They just gave up the chance to kill the Power Rangers for her, and she doesn't think they're good enough. Nocrea says no, they aren't. She's trying to save them, make them good enough for her. So, she tells Corone to do it. Corone points at her head, but hesitates. She screams, "Do it!" And Corone fires. The cave explodes, and I have no idea why. TJ says, why bother trying to break through their force field when we can make our own? I think what he was trying to say was, why bother trying to open their opening when we can make one ourselves? Otherwise, they somehow made the cave explode with another force field? They see the Psycho ship is leaving. Oh no, Corone and Andros. But no, look. In a shot clearly mirroring Countdown to Destruction, Corone walks up carrying Andros. They ask about the Psychos, and she says she went through with it, destroyed them, reprogrammed them, and revived them. They are now good, moral. On the Astro Megaship, Andros looks at his locket. Carone says, "I'm right here," but Andros can't be sure. They're headed back to KO-35 to drop her off to resume her meditation, and she says she will also help with the recovery efforts. She tells Andros it was good to see him, and she does appreciate him lying to the Rangers. Yeah, he told them that the psychos knocked him out. He's pretty pissed about all of this. She talks so much about the psychos being a family, but the two of them really are family. He doesn't get why she's so hung up on them. She says he really should. Like her, they were broken and reprogrammed, turned into weapons, and she was the one who did it, and they needed rescuing, just like he rescued her. And another thing! She lied about something else. Carone realized that killing and reprogramming the psychos wasn't right, so she didn't shoot Nocrea. She destroyed the data cards and let them go unaltered. Andros takes this well. He removes their family locket and throws it against the wall, shattering it. Andros cannot believe that she wouldn't even take the chance to force them to be good. She explains that if she hadn't destroyed the cards, Green could have found them and reprogrammed them again. With the cards destroyed, the Psycho Rangers have two options now: reclaim their humanity, be good, or stay evil, fight the Rangers, and be destroyed forever. Andros has learned absolutely nothing, seeing them as only twisted creatures of evil. She points out how they let the Rangers live, but he attributes that to just pleasing her. She builds on that. They still have that desire to please her inside of them, and her desire to not see needless loss of life should transfer over to being their desire. So she decided to trust them. As she keeps talking, we see the psychos on their ship. Nocrea is watching movies. Nocrea? Anyway. Red talks about lethal moves being easier, knocking a mannequin's head off, and Blue polishes his weapon. Green is in a jail cell doing the now absolutely crazy thing. Oh, he loves his family so, and it's just gonna break his heart when he ruthlessly murders them, even whispering their new names. Nocrea and Axe, Virgil and Photon, and Yellow. Sweet, smart Yellow, who apparently didn't choose a name. The comic doesn't make clear, even in its art gallery afterwards, whose names these actually are, but I did a little detective work and I think I've got it pinned down. Nocrea is the Pink Ranger, we know about that. At the end of this, as you're going to see, they call the Red Ranger Virgil. I think that Photon is the Black Ranger. Why? Because Psycho Blue uses an axe. And considering he didn't believe Carone when she said soda was a thing, I feel like he's the type of guy who would name himself after his weapon. So, Photon does a scan and there's no sign of the Space Rangers, so they can stop running and choose where they want to go. They ask Virgil where they're going, and he gives a second star to the right type answer, saying they can just figure that out as they go. This book sucks. Oh, I'm sorry. I usually have a little bit more setup than that. Let me start again. Good Zordon in his shiny glass tube, this book sucks. I cannot describe to you, although I'm going to try, how much I hate this story. It's over 100 pages of The Trial of Astronema, Part 2. Now, the funny thing is, I've seen this book actually get a lot of hate. My opinion isn't exactly unique here, but I think the reason a lot of people hate it, and would think that I would hate it, is what they did with the Psycho Rangers. I actually liked that part. I always found it weird to think that the Psychos were just monsters that could transform into Rangers. Come on now, folks, that was to use up some Zord footage. I find it much more interesting that the Psychos are just like Carone, normal people who were bent and twisted into tools of evil, evil Power Rangers, a counterpart to the good team. We literally get to watch the Psycho Rangers grow as characters, starting out as mindless killing machines and becoming at the end anti-heroes, shall we say, with their own sense of morality. Corone even has to examine her own morality, her decision to force them to be good, in the end allowing them to make the choice to be good, which is ultimately more noble. No, I hate this story for the exact same reason I hated the Trial of Astronema. What it does to Andros, Corone, and their relationship. Corone's story, mainly seen in Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, is about a woman who chose kindness over hatred in overcoming her evil past, quite literally as she fought Astronema once, and achieving the ultimate redemption, becoming the exact type of hero that she once sought to destroy. A Power Ranger. But the Corone here, it's like the writers, and I don't want to pin this all on Trey Moore, others may have contributed to this decision, decided that Corone just had to have too many inner demons to be that sweet woman we saw in Lost Galaxy. No. She had to be mentally scarred, she had to be all edgy, she had to be ready, willing, and able to be sneaky and underhanded, and she learned absolutely nothing from being a Power Ranger, doing everything herself instead of relying on a team. And I get that the Space Rangers would have some residual feelings fighting the Psycho Rangers as many times as they did, but insisting that they're just mindless killing machines, even with direct evidence in their face to the contrary, shows just a little bit too much mindless hatred for the character of a Power Ranger. That mainly applies to Andros, but really none of the Space Rangers are written well. Carlos is weirdly analytical, TJ is the exact same dick that he was in his annual story, to make that clear, and the girls don't really get much development besides, let's go kill the Psycho Rangers. Andros and Corone love each other. Andros risked everything to find his sister, thinking he killed her, but then getting her back. She admired him for everything that he did and risked, and getting her away from the personality of Astronema. So why in this book do the two of them hate each other? Every scene between the two of them is just filled with this sense of pure resentment and hatred. They trick each other, they lie to each other, they physically attack each other. It's just mean-spirited. The Boom comics have been great for putting a darker, more real spin on these Power Ranger stories, but there is a line. I feel like the writers here just thought that the Andros Corone story was too clean. And that is a thought I understand. In my review of the Beast Morphers episode Game On, I said that Carrie getting the prize money for her brother's surgery, even though she didn't win the gaming tournament, was too clean of an ending. But this is way too far in the other direction. From the start of this book to the end, there is no indication that these two even like each other. I will give the book some credit for its unique take on the Psycho Rangers. However, the story is confusing when it's not boring and tries to ruin two beloved Power Rangers characters. The Psychopath gets a 1 out of 5. However, this review is not over. Turns out there's a little bonus story tucked in here. One that was first tucked into something else. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Year 2 Deluxe Edition featured a story called Psychotic, the origin of the Psycho Green Ranger. I keep up with the comics month to month, so I don't get the compilations, but obviously I got this. So let's take a look at Psychotic. Long ago, on the planet Zybria, home of Time Force Green Ranger Trip, we learned it was also home to the Supersonic Power Rangers. You may remember the Supersonic Rangers were seen briefly during Super Megaforce, their powers anyway, and are an adaptation, for lack of a better term, of the Sentai 5-Man. They seem to be cleaning up from a rescue mission inside a building with a red haze. The hostages are safe, the monster disintegrated, and the grunts, which amazingly we get a name for, silencers, are all down. The Red Ranger calls Green in the ship, and they tell Ace here that it's all clear. Then the haze fades, and Ace says he's checked the future, and everything looks great. Yes, so Zybrians can take glimpses at the future, which is what that was. However, they still review the situation before going in. Hostage situation with a monster and grunts. Ace says that when they get inside, blue and yellow will attack head-on with him, while pink and black will flank. Ace tells Green to stay in the ship and monitor the situation. Understandably, he's irritated by that, and apparently this is an old argument. Green pitches that he should lead the team this time around. Ace explains that he didn't see Green in his vision, and they have to follow the vision precisely to win. Apparently the visions never include Green, which could be a tongue-in-cheek reference to how Five-Man didn't have a Green Ranger, and the two get testy about it. Pink breaks them up, and Ace tells the team to move out. Green has the Pink Ranger, Star, who looks remarkably like Ranger Liz right now, to wait. She's pissed, having told him not to pick these fights. He says it's Ace that starts it by always benching him. The entire team underestimates him. Except for her, and that's why he loves... She tells him not to finish that sentence, and we learn that his name, Psycho Green's name, is Trek. Ace and Star are an item, and besides that, Trek has changed. He's filled with the dark side of the Force or something, and she can't even read his thoughts anymore. Ace calls for her, and she runs out. Trek watches them run into the building, and then there's a huge explosion. He demorphs completely and calmly walks out towards the building. The other Rangers are dead, including Star, who he apologizes to, but Trek says she made her choice. He hears a cough, and Ace has managed to survive. He thinks Trek has come to help, but he actually hasn't. No, Trek was responsible for this. Ace says he should have seen this coming, but Trek set a psychic trap for them, showing them a false future. Inside the building was a morph bomb set to their specific grid frequency, which he gave them via his sonic morpher. Ace wants to know why, and Trek says it's because they never accepted him, talking behind his back and even turning Star against him. Ace says he's been lied to. They weren't friends, but he never hated him. Trek refers to the Rangers as something he's no longer a part of, saying they're hypocrites and he will light the fire in which they and all future teams will burn. Ace says he'll stop him, but Trek tells him to look into the future. Ace says he can't see anything, and Trek kills him. Trek takes the ship and goes on a Star Trek. Sorry, I couldn't resist. He flies the ship to planet Infernus and enters a cave guarded by Quantrons. He meets a man inside and tells him to tell Dark Spectre that it's done. However, this is Dark Spectre, possessing this person to hide his true form. He asked Trek how it felt, and Trek found it satisfying. However, he doubts a little, asking if what Dark Spectre showed him about the rest of his teammates was true. He says, of course it was, with a big evil grin in the sky. Trek joining Dark Spectre has given Dark Spectre what he needed most in his war against good: access to the morphing grid. Trek steps forward and green light bathes him. He loses his shirt, and evil energy combines with the morpher to create a new power. He's no longer Zybrian, he's now a monster, and Psycho Green. Dark Spectre tells Psycho Green to go find Rita Repulsa, who has stolen the Dragon Power Coin, and that coin cannot fall into Zordon's hands. The purple-haired man stirs, begging to be let go, but Dark Spectre shuts him up, reveling in getting a Ranger to defect to the side of evil and taking out an entire team. This test is successful. But Dark Spectre has been drained, and will need time to be able to form an entire team of evil Rangers. Until then, he'll find other Rangers one at a time, crushing the Rangers with their own power. I like this story a lot better. We get a fleshed out look at the backstory of the Supersonic Rangers, something I don't think any of us were expecting. And I love that if an evil Ranger had to win this fight, We kind of get the sense that this team had it coming to them. Ace is a cocky jerk, Yellow and Blue seemed battle-hungry, Black seemed kind of snooty, and even Star, the Pink Ranger, seemed like she kind of was playing both sides with Ace and Trek before choosing one. For such a little, seemingly throwaway story to establish Psycho Green's origins, this had a lot of character and excitement. It's great to link them to an existing world in the Power Rangers canon. Honestly, these few pages almost make the Psychopath worth picking up. Just go ahead and skip that 100 or so page side story before it. Psychotic gets a 4 out of 5. This is normally where I'd say next time on a comically long review, but honestly, this video is probably airing around or next to other comic reviews, so I'm not going to do that this time. I will take this opportunity to say that a new Power Rangers graphic novel has been announced. Sins of the Future is a Time Force follow-up story specifically focusing on Jen and Wes. You better believe I'm going to review it! That's going to do it for another comically long review. Heroes, once again, just thank you for your patience. This got pushed to the back burner because of multiple reasons, and I know that some of you have been eager to see my take on this because it's bad. It's so bad, guys. It's Heroes. It's so bad. But just, you know, things pushed it back, and I really appreciate you waiting patiently, and just now, I hope you enjoyed the review. Now that the video is over and the entire book is mercifully over, I can put this in my comic box and never look at it again. You can let me know what you thought of my 2-part review and the entire book itself, beginning to end, and Psychotic, down in the comments below. And while you're down there, I hope you'll mash that thumbs up button and let me know that you enjoyed this video. Until next time, heroes, may the power protect you. I didn't really have an opportunity to do this since I had to mention and then review Psychotic, but it's a fate richly deserved for this. Gives this little speech. Green works on the mind controls chair. They actually act like... She needs into the lab and knows he can help, but then she begs him to just pass out, and even while getting zapped, he insists he still believes. The Space Rangers use the Quadro Blaster to try and escape, but the beam just bounces around the cave. We see Andros... Carone says that will be easier if she lets them reprogram her. If she lets them reprogram her. Carone says it'll all be easier if she lets them reprogram... I did it again. If she lets them reprogram. If they let her reprogram them. Carone points at her head, but hesitates. No, Creus... Carone realized that killing and reprogramming or stay evil, fight the Rangers, and be destroyed. Green could have found them and reprogrammed them again. With the card destroyed, Green could have found them and reprogrammed them again. With the card destroyed, quite literally at one point, seeing as she has to fight Astronema at one. She persevered in some kind of way. I don't even know. No. I hate this story for the same reason. Dang it. Quite literally, she had to fight Astronema once. What it does to Andros, Carone, and their characters. And she learned absolutely nothing from being a Ranger. And Trek takes the ship down. He meets a man inside and tells him to tell Dark Spectre that it's... Yeah. And even Pink... While you're down there, please make sure you mash that thumbs up button. Let me know that you enjoyed this video.